Everyone, Eric Watson here, freelance writer, player of games, writer of words, recorder of videos, and tabletop role-playing aficionado. Welcome to the Thursday edition of my bi-weekly behind-the-scenes DM-only live stream Crafting the Deep, in which I build, write, and prepare for our next session of Call from the Deep. If you're playing characters Gottwald, Mack, Sabra, or Toro, it's okay, dog. The door's open. You can come in. I cannot close my office door because dogs are coming in and out. This video is not meant for you. We'll be full of spoilers, but for the rest of you, welcome. We stream our D&D sessions live on YouTube every Friday. You can join our official Discord server with invite link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel, please check out patreon.com/RogueWatson. For a campaign, we use Roll20. For streaming, I use OBS Studio. Apologize if my voice is a little raspy. I literally just finished recording my video of Vecna, Eve of Ruin. I've been reviewing that, looking at it, analyzing it, reading it throughout the week. Just finished my review. That is going to go up later today for patrons and should be up tomorrow, barring any other delays, anything else going on, for everyone else. And that is a big campaign, and it is a big video, I will say that. So now I got to switch gears and think back at Call from the Deep, which is going to be airing tomorrow. We are in the Styes. We've only still kicked off the very beginning, which means I think we're ready to start part 2, the murder mystery. I think I'm going to run things pretty close to as is. I've said countless times how I'm changing the Aboleth into a Mind Flayer, but we can change the Tharizdun cult into the Kraken Society, which I think will work better, and just say that, hey, this place already was filthy with Kraken Society members. They've already got their whole temple. So in other words, the Temple of Tharizdun will actually be a Kraken Society temple, I guess, which is going to be this Lamp Shadow area here. And it just happens the Mind Flayer moved in, and since they've basically got control of the Kraken Society, since they've got the Elder Brain with the Kraken, then the Mind Flayer, thus, basically the Kraken Society is now working for the Mind Flayer. So Mr. Dory will probably actually be a Kraken Society cultist, and that's what's allowed him to risen up the ranks. I don't know if I even want to actually use his picture, because it's kind of hilariously disgusting and nasty, versus a Deep Scion would just look like a person, I guess. Maybe I should just come up with a different person art and use that for Mr. Dory. And then I think I liked the idea of using the Deep Scion Assassin stat block, and then have him just have a bunch of Deep Scion minions near him instead of all the scum stuff, and probably even take out like the Flesh Golem. Maybe I could come up with some other watery creature he could use, and I haven't decided still. I know I'm waffling on this a lot. The Scum, which you all like and I like too, but it's very thematic to Aboleth, which is not what I'm using here, is the problem. So I don't know if I can quite get away with using that. Maybe the Mind Flayer is able to create these Scums somehow. I don't know. Yeah, it's a really neat, cool creature monster concept. But also, keep in mind, I'm having to scale down this whole adventure from 11th level to 8th level. And I wouldn't necessarily say my party is actually that overly powerful. I think I've been more, and correct me if I'm wrong, a little more conservative on handing out magic items, and especially powerful magic items in this campaign versus other campaigns. Cube of Force, probably the most powerful, but also we were reading it wrong for a solid like session or two, where it really only lasts like minutes instead of like entire sessions. So with that in mind, I think it does kind of rebalance a little bit better. But I feel like they're not quite as, I don't know, they don't have like the go-to amazing magic items. And they really didn't even get a single, they got it's a lot of what they've gotten. Sorry, again, I talked for like last hour. For magic item wise has been to circumvent the underwater stuff, right? It's been like the Cloak of the Manta Ray, or a Necklace of Adaptation, or Survival Mantle, all these different tools they have just to help navigate these more difficult environments, and not necessarily that makes them just straight up more powerful. Obviously they've got some like +1 weapons, and Toral's got like adamantine armor, but it's a lot of just kind of basic stuff that they would have, and not necessarily all these super powered abilities. I mean, they for what they don't have a bag of holding, they don't have like a wand of magic missiles. Like, there's a lot of stuff they don't have. So I really think they're probably closer to a true level 8 party than what maybe it would be in the past, where they had all these extra abilities. I mean, think about it, in Rhyme, they all had their extra freaking like secret powers that I guess not all of them were nuts, but I know like Reese's character and Heather's character both had like really powerful abilities they used all the time for their secrets. That was just baked into their character kit. So in this case, I think they actually are quite a bit lower level, and maybe things are a little bit more challenging. So, and these scum are, you know, CR 500 hit points. Like, they're really closer to like a mini boss fight or something you don't want to use minions of. But you could throw one somewhere. I just don't know where I necessarily want to use it. Now, this investigation it's basically all like story stuff and role playing and maybe the occasional skill check. And then the latter half is like all pure combat almost. I guess when you first get to the warehouse, you can technically talk to people, but beyond that, it's a lot of fighting your way to the enemy. I think I've pretty much already gone through all the stuff with the investigation. I thought about like, I don't know, inserting like a chase sequence or something in here, but then you gotta come up with like, I don't know, what happens if I guess if I were writing this as an adventure novel, then I would obviously have some kind of chase sequence, because I know like, oh, the party either can't catch that person, or the person only says this much information and then they die or something. But in D&D, it always makes me nervous because I don't want to take away that kind of agency from the players, and anything that I insert into the adventure, I need to be prepared to deal with all like eventualities of including that. So if I include like another killer, because somebody, and I think it was supposed to be like a scum minion who killed the most recent victim, which is under scene of the crime. Yeah, the latest murder, because that was the big problem, right? They found, I'm naming him Jamie because I don't like the name Jarmy. They killed Jamie. Or sorry, they captured Jamie, who was standing over a body with a bloody knife. I think I like the idea that maybe he's been cutting off, maybe scalping enemies, I guess, like taking the brains out, or maybe just cutting the head off. I guess cutting somebody's head off would probably be easier. I hope FBI is not listening into this. Then trying to like scalp them and scoop the brain out. I don't actually know the answer to that. It's probably good that I don't know the answer to that. But I like the idea that they're trying to gather brains to feed. Well, the Mind Flayer needs to eat first, but also for maybe the Kraken that they are growing. I still haven't quite decided if it's a Kraken or like a juvenile Kraken is what we're using, like an illithid version of it. Maybe I can even like mess with its stat block, or just do some other kind of cool big boss creature that they're using. I could always have Scum be the minions, because previously it was like Chul, I think, that are used as powerful minions, and we just technically used a Chul in the Swagan Stronghold as kind of a mini boss. So maybe I can use Scum as like the Mind Flayer's minions somehow. I don't know if he's transformed people, or I don't know how he's gotten them, but he's got Scum minions down there, but that might be too much. I mean, Mind Flayer alone is pretty strong, especially the general stat blocks I plan on using, which I don't know which Mind Flayer I'm still going to use yet. They're like stronger than average Mind Flayers. They all have like special abilities and different features. One of them's like more martial focused. One of them's got more like tech objects and stuff. So they're more like, I don't know what a Mind Flayer is, CR 6 or something, and then maybe the general's like CR 8, something like that. But in the story, it's one of the Scum minions that actually commits the murder, the new one, because Jamie has been captured and executed for the murders, but then another murder happened because they need to keep on doing the murders. I don't know why they don't. I guess they're just really sloppy about murdering. It's like, you're already a evil society. The big thing I'm trying to wrap my head around is like, all right, if the Kraken Society already exists here, then can't you just get them to do the murders? But instead, the Mind Flayer creates a specific thrall to go do the murders. I don't know why. I guess it's just more. But then they doesn't get rid of the bodies or anything. I guess they just find the bodies somewhere. In the story, the murders specifically happen because they're trying to create that despair. Like, they want the murders to be found and want people to be upset. I guess I would need that to be the case here, Otherwise, like if you're making a thrall to murder people and take their brains, why would you like leave the bodies out? Why would you not be more careful about uh dumping the bodies in the water or getting rid of them and just trying to, be as clandestine and secretive as possible, unless you are trying to create that aura of like supernatural hatred and fear. And maybe that's something I can reveal at the end with the mind flayer. Be like, yeah, I need brains that are racked with fear and despair, taste the best or work the best or something. I don't know, some bullshit reason, but like that's why they're like finding bodies and something like that. do the players really care about that kind of nitty gritty information? But as it is, the tracks just lead to the warehouse instead of leading anywhere else. Just becomes a pretty obvious clue that that's where they're stationed, which makes the most sense. That's where the killer was. Maybe instead Mr. Dory himself did the murder, or maybe it was just a deep scion. And maybe that's why because the thrall can create somebody who specifically can be an assassin, and that's like the Manchurian candidate kind of, or a sleeper cell. Really, it's what I'm picturing, like a sleeper agent that's like activated, and then they know all those skills. Whereas maybe the Kraken Society are just people that wouldn't necessarily make good assassins, and hence why they've left some like tracks and stuff behind, versus the other ones were much more of a clean job. So instead of a scum minion, maybe it's just a deep scion minion. But at that point, I don't think it's webbed. I think they have normal feet, but maybe they can see well, no, the body wouldn't be there anymore. Maybe just tracks, like just normal human tracks, I guess. No effort was made to clean up the area. That local rats and gulls would take care of any remains. I mean, I assume the militia like took the body and stuff. Locate unfamiliar webbed footprints nearly obscured by the tracks of militias and gawkers. Which it looks like there's no actual check to find that. But then you can make a survival, which we haven't had too many of those kind of checks. DC 15 survival check, determine they were made by a couple creatures. And then there's another check to actually follow the tracks to the warehouse. So that would probably be just a selection of deep scions came, and maybe we can talk about how it looked like the murder site was different than the others, which can be interesting. More of a fight, because like the other guy was like enthralled to be more of an assassin, whereas the deep scions are just like gonna fight like normal. So maybe more of the signs of a struggle in the actual murder sites. Let's say, wait, it's just an alley. Okay, alley in the end of the alchemist quarter. The body's immediate cremation was ordered by Mr. Dory. So that's interesting too. The guards may be able to find, and that's something maybe they can learn from Constable Jute, the fact that the heads are missing, or the scalps are missing. Well, that's true, Nate. Protect the Kraken Society by having a fall guy that's easily thrown away if caught. That's true, which is exactly what happens here. But he was caught, and I guess they had to keep up the murders before they could enthrall somebody else. Or maybe the storyline is they were trying to capture somebody, who could be the next victim, who could be the next killer, but that person put up a huge fight, and they ultimately had to kill them. But again, why would the Kraken Society leave the body? If that was the case, wouldn't they always try to like stash the body somewhere? Maybe they did. Maybe they did maybe they just fucked up. They stashed the body like in a garbage heap, but it was found by the guard. Yeah, that could make sense. I'm kind of liking that storyline. Right? So for the recent murder site. Dory sent Deep Scions to grab another person. I don't know if they had somebody in mind. Or if they were just like, just grab somebody from like a certain area who looks like decently healthy. Alleyway to turn into a thrall murderer. But the person fought back, and they ultimately had to kill them, and they stashed the body and ran, but it was found by Constable Jute patrolling. Ooh, maybe that's better. They didn't have time to stash the body, right? They were like gonna capture and take them real quick, but that person put up a fight, made a noise. So they had to run. So that all is pretty good. They had to run before stashing the body, as it was soon found by Constable Jute patrolling, who was in like, oh shit, somebody else got murdered. But then she would know this person did not have, which that might be more confusing for the party. This person looked like they were murdered, but like only recently, and they didn't have the like, you know, head removed or anything. And then when she reported it, they still had the body fully cremated before anything else happened, which she thought was pretty odd. So she's a classic good cop in a bad cop world. I need to find artwork for this character. Okay, so that could work. That could work. And then the tracks would thus lead to the warehouse, which makes total sense. Because the warehouse is going to be full of deep scion. So we've got our warehouse map, which I think we will get here. I think the investigation, I mean, I guess it could take a long-ass time with all these different sites. I could see us ending, like, when we get to the warehouse, we talk to people, and then we, like, start combat, or we wait it out for, like, nighttime, and, you know, we get inside and we start combat. I have a feeling we'd get to, like, the beginning of the warehouse at the end of the session, but maybe we'll flip through the investigation real quick. You know, it's possible we do like the one thing, right? They immediately go to the new murder site, they get the tracks to the warehouse, they just keep following, and they don't even ever go to the asylum or something. That's totally possible, and definitely an avenue for them, because it's meant to not be a big, you know, hassle when it comes to the investigation. Basically, all roads lead to this one location, which is easy for me, the DM, to keep track of everything. The warehouse, which is under part 3, the Hemlock Pit, is full of these commoners, which is workers. There is a 4-person, I guess, which just has the basic side plot. The only thing I didn't, I guess I have to come up with the heist part of it, where you can gain information from other people. I may, if the party thinks to like, hey, let's go to the local tavern and just ask about this Dory person, warehouse person, then I may include this information. Or if they go to Rephraim, which I'm kind of planning on Rephraim maybe going with the party at least to the asylum. He may not want to go to the militia because they've already like kicked him out and stuff, but maybe he'll like fade into the background. But he can provide some context to the party and just give them this information versus meeting additional NPCs to gather this other information possibly. But that's something that we may see if the party wants to, they think to like ask around or something about Mr. Dory, or about this very well guarded warehouse in a dangerous part of town. 4 guards, which all use the thug stat block, which is a little stronger. I'm putting 2 on the outside though. I think it would be kind of guarded during the day, but like more of a like, hey, this is employees only. It's not like it's like, you know, heavy security necessarily, but they would definitely not want like armed adventurers like walking around, or anybody snooping around anywhere. But they also aren't, you know, it's still designed for level 11. These are still just basic guards, so it's not meant, or they're thugs, but it's not like they're huge, you know, veterans or berserkers. So it's not really going to deter the party too much, because they should want to bust in here and do whatever they want. But I would probably allow them to use whatever skill checks or things to make their way inside here ultimately. Or they can try to heist it up and get up to like the 2nd floor, do all the other different things they can do. There's not that many entrances other than that back crane area though. And there's a whole bit about the whole place blowing up in flames, which is pretty awesome if there's a fight, which there should be. Yeah, the warehouse manager, which I guess uses the commoner stat block. A phlegmatic, no-nonsense woman with a permanent look of frustration, never-ending list of tasks. The character is asked to meet with Dory. She agrees to put the request for consideration and warns that it might be several days where a meeting can be scheduled. And obviously, she wants to get rid of the party and get back to her work. Yeah, it's actually all legitimate warehouse stuff. It's just they actually do have a legitimate business here. This is the legitimate part of the business, and then the illegitimate is the actual like Kraken Society temple. All right, the loft area. This is something I've really waffled on. 3 manticores and a slod is what guards this area. Again, we've got level 8. What do we think about 3 manticores and a red slod as the guards? I like the manticores, I think. I think I'm sold on that being cool, like, you know, high-level monstrous guard dog kind of things. They fly, they're dangerous. The red slod handler of the manticores, which I presume Dory then has the control gem for the red slod, feels a little too exotic and kind of out there for me. And I'm not sure if the slot actually has the ranged attacks like the Manicore does. I think it does not at all. Yeah, it does have regen magic resistance and 100 hit points. I don't know. I haven't decided if I want to include that. Stupid control V bug right there. Morgan says to take out the slot for sure. Take it out completely and not replace it with anything, we think. We feel like there should be a handler for the manticores, or we just let the manticores do their thing. What's interesting is what if the party just ends up like slipping upstairs and seeing this? Are they kind of like sleeping during the day? It says the loft is the lair of the manticores and the slod that guard the warehouse at night. The manticores have no love for the slod, but they follow its commands because they're furiously loyal to Dory. The manticores roam freely through the warehouse at night. They spend their days in the loft, but respond quickly to any disturbance in the main warehouse below. So really, if the fight breaks out, I think the guards down here, or maybe Brisk has some kind of like alarm system, or they would whistle or something, and you could literally have these things fly down from this hole in the wall and just be flying around, shooting their spikes, and just having a huge other fight. How tall are these ceilings? Because this does matter. Does it say Stories Warehouse, Main Storehouse? I think it says only does one house with 3 manticores, fly between levels and constant patrol. Talks about the fire hazard. Crap. Somewhere it's got to tell me how tall this place is, right? It really doesn't. Okay, maybe it tells you on like the loft. Main storehouse. The lift, large object between the area and the loft. Shoot. Okay, maybe we go to the loft then. I'm just forgot about them. Creates are in kind of a legal limbo. Shoot, it never actually says how tall. All right, I think the crane tells you how far they fall. Wasn't it like 60 feet? Damn, now I can't find it. 10 feet per turn. Fall deals only 3d6 bludgeoning damage because of the soft, deep mud below. The hull of the ship dangles from the crane's arm 50 feet above the broad mud pool below. So that is that one picture. So this ship is 50 feet from the ground. This actually gets tricky, though, because it looks like the stairs kind of go up at an angle. I'm trying to figure out literally how high all these levels are. Warehouses are very tall ceilings. At least modern warehouses are fucking huge. But typically they also don't involve multiple levels like this one does. Typically warehouses are just all one gigantic level, and maybe with like one, like, you know, part of the area. I mean, it's a picture like a grocery store or something. You might have like an upstairs section in one area, but the rest of it's all the way to the ceiling. But here that's not the case. You have a full-on second story here, and there's got to be enough room for these manticores to maneuver. So if the ship's 50 feet high, you got to imagine there's maybe like a 30-foot high ceiling here. Well, which level is the crane on? The crane is attached to the 3rd floor. So if the ground, maybe each floor is maybe 20 feet high, which is a lot higher than a standard ceiling would be. So you're looking at 20, 40, but the third floor would be 60. That doesn't quite add up because we said it was 50 feet above. I don't know, maybe I'm thinking this too much. Maybe just the ground floor is 20 feet high. Second floor is 10. Third floor is 10. The art doesn't actually match the map. Oh, fabulous. I love it when that happens. Yeah, I don't, because they mentioned the fact that you can like climb up the crane in the description, but that's not at all what the map shows. The map shows that the crane is attached to like this building part. So it's like, all right, is the crane meant to be its own thing? I like the art. I want to show the art. And the way that I think Bear did the map, it looks like the crane is like built out of the third floor. Should it be higher? It does mention 50 feet of the ship is 50 feet. You think that's correct? I wouldn't soften that blow, by the way. I would definitely have it be falling 50 feet down. Why soften it? I need to also make a line here to separate these two. Let's do there to there. There we go. So this is the second floor, and the third floor railing is actually above the second floor. So they can... So the second floor is really tall because basically the third floor is open. Yeah, you step out of the third floor. Okay, that does make sense that the picture would be... Yeah, because the picture doesn't look like that, does it? Shit. What did I just do with it? Styes. Okay, so really... Y'all can see my mouse, right? So this whole platform should be like fucking up here. Right? And the crane should not be that tall. This is a bummer because I do want to show this picture. It's a cool picture. But yeah, it'd be weird to show this picture and be like, oh, but by the way, this picture is not accurate. The one thing you're looking at is actually not where it's supposed to be. Instead, this whole platform and area is actually like another like 20 feet higher. And there's a crane way above that. That sucks. It sucks that it's such a discrepancy. I almost don't want to use a picture, even though I love this picture. Damn it. Yeah, but it definitely discouraged the players from being able to just like climb. It did mention in the text that they could just climb the crane, which confused the shit out of me. Where was that part of it? Reaching the ship without magic requires climbing the crane, which takes a successful DC 20 athletics check. On a failed check, the climber falls 40 feet. So the way the text is written is that the whole crane extends to the bottom. You can climb the crane, which is not easy, but not insurmountable for somebody like Mr. Plus 11 to athletics checks Gottwald. And thus skip the entire warehouse part of it and just end up on the crane. Or, you know, all those players that have ways to climb walls, like fucking Savra and Mac do, I believe. So the party may just shock me completely. Now, one interesting will be if they do decide to skip the entire warehouse. So I do need to be prepared for this, by the way. If they do skip the entire warehouse by doing this climb, then the guards could call the manticores outside. I don't know if there's like a roof they can come out of, because manticores are big. They wouldn't really necessarily fit in this door. But, you know, you just hate to not use the manticores, basically. Let's go ahead and roll for their hit points. No, it's not working. Let's restart the API. Usually what fixes it. Because that could be a thing that happens. I mean, when we did our our guild masters thing interlude. The party ended up not going to the front door, which I kind of expected, but they went through another entrance that I wasn't necessarily expecting. And so I had to kind of scramble for that a little bit. So I'm trying to be more aware of that. There we go. Hit points. 2 of them got well above hit points, it looks like. One of them was 69. Nice. Did I do crates up here? We did do crates up here. So yeah, we'll just leave the mana cores. I guess they're just kind of chilling then. Maybe there's like a nest stuff up here. Pretty bored. Maybe we can put one on the 3rd floor. Although they hang out in the loft. So maybe there's really more nests up here. I'll put some kind of like nest art and they'll just hang out up here. And really they chill until they're summoned, or at night where they really take over and stretch around and do their thing. But yeah, I think removing the slot and just having the mana cores is just fine. I don't think we've ever fought multiple mana core before. That could be pretty interesting. But again, the party hasn't had really a single battle or anything since they leveled up, so they'll be just fine for it. I know, it is a shame because the art is cool. Maybe it's a similar warehouse across the street. I mean, I'm almost tempted to show them the art, to say, hey, by the way, this map art, if they ask about like, oh, we can just get in that way. Well, the thing is, they don't know that they have to get into the ship, right? It might just be cool map art, and they're like, okay, that's cool looking. But they don't necessarily know that that ship hanging above the thing is actually where they need to go. They don't have the information at all. They're just thinking, okay, well, this is kind of a cool look to this warehouse. If they do think of that and go into it, however, I may have to speak up and say, hey, by the way, that thing's actually a lot higher. But, you know, the party does have ways of climbing. A lot of magic items have to do with like traversing things, is what I'm realizing as well. All right, so let's start actually putting creatures on here, I think. So we've got the mana core, the office with Bursk, the office, upper walkway, the crane, a narrow rotting walkway with missing boards and no railing surrounds the rusting bulk of an ancient crane. The hulk of this ship, the whole of the ship dangles from the crane's arm, 50 feet above the broad mud pool water, which means the ship is raised higher than the crane. So maybe the crane is like 40 feet up. So maybe that math could work if we have the first level is 20 feet, you know, big warehouse level, extra tall. And then maybe the loft is only 10 feet tall, which is still, you know, normal. I guess not. You can have shorter ceilings, but, you know, home or something. And then another 10 feet for 3rd floor. That equals 40 feet. So that means you're exiting this crane at 40 feet tall. And then the railing actually goes up a precarious, angle, which is true to the picture. And then the ship actually dangles another 10 feet above the crane. Does that all make sense? So that by the time, if they were to fall off the ship, they would then fall 50 feet. If they fall off the crane platform, that would be 40 feet. And I don't think I would include the mud thing about them, you know, not having to avoid a lot of damage, I guess. This one actually says, a character moves quickly or performs any other action in addition to moving must succeed a DC 13 dex save or fall prone. If the saving fails by 5 or more, the character slips and falls 6 feet. That's interesting. So it's not even that you get knocked back. If you do anything besides moving, so in other words, if you're in the middle of combat, you have to actually make a dex save or fall prone or possibly just fall off. That makes just moving around this area pretty dangerous, which is nice. 3 scum. Oh yeah, the crane's gears and controls are heavily rusted and frozen in place, so you can't actually operate the thing, which I'm sure they would want to. 3 scum hidden inside the crane's shed stand guard over this area. They confront anyone who tries to cross the footbridge to the ship. The crane's shed. I think I mentioned this before, but what the fuck is the crane's shed? Like the crane itself, they're inside of it? There is no shed here on this map, nor is there one in the original map. It's just a fucking crane here. I assume they just mean like the compartment of the damn thing. What's the description? Wooden walkway. It's a crane. Yeah. Rusting bulk of an ancient crane is all it says. Confront anyone who tries to cross the footbridge of the ships, basically calling out to alert the ship's occupants. The scum are intimately familiar with the walkway and the precarious bridge. They can move and act normally with no risk of falling. If they can, they try to push intruders off the walkway rather than fight them. Which I think there is a shove action you can take, correct? Rarely used, but I believe kind of like a grapple. If you grapple somebody, suppose you could then move them off. Maybe that's how you do it. I did not write down shove. Is shove a separate action or is it just grappling? The bridge is a great little obstacle. I mean, it certainly could be. Shove, do you mean shovel? Shove aside? Force the target to the side rather than away. Huh. I think grapple is like the way you move people, right? Technically. Action options. There's not that many listed here. There's more than that, right? There's not even the help action there. I think grapple is what you're meaning for. I think if somebody grapples you... Oh, interesting. Overrun. The mover can try to force its way through by overrunning a hostile creature. It takes an action or a bonus action. Move itself through the hostile space once this turn. Okay, I don't know if I've actually looked at that rule before. Huh. It's an action like grapple. Okay, that's what I assume. Because once you grapple somebody, you can kind of move them by spending your movement, and then presumably you're shoving them, but like mechanically I think you're grappling, and then you can, once you've grappled, I assume you can drop them. Which means Gottwald's just gonna have a fucking ball here. And that's fine. I mean, that could be one way they deal with people, so initiative is gonna matter a lot here. In terms of who does what. We can also have the Deep Scions. In fact, we might have like 2 already up there and maybe have 2 more appear later. Like, be inside the crane. Yeah, grapple without setting the move to 0. I mean, their move is 0 until they get dropped, and then it suddenly becomes much faster than 0. Where are my Scions at? Because I have not got to use these fellers in a while. Also, do the Scions come with multi-sided tokens these days, or do I have to do that myself? They do not. I wish they did. Because wouldn't it be cool if you just had people that were like guards? They were like, hey, you can't be up here, and they say something. But then they turn into the deep side. Like, I want to have a little bit of a... You know, there's no shock moment in the adventure when you suddenly fight these scum. I feel like there should be a shock moment here. AC 11? Why did the deep side... Like, they're wearing armor, aren't they? Like, at least leather? Why is their AC so shitty? I may go in and edit that. Thank you, CMG. Appreciate you. For the super chat, you could replace the slot with a werebore called Bebop and his 2 Manticore guards. I understood the reference. Werebore is pretty fun. There's no were rhino, is there? Rock study. Now you're thinking though, like to scale down the slot and make it a more interesting handler, even though werebore is kind of maybe were rat might be more appropriate for this nasty area. Maybe just include one of these Deep Scions as one of the handlers. Honestly, I wonder if there's a different kind of Deep Scion stat block we can use. Hey, I almost feel like I should use separate token. Like, you could just take the guard token and swap it. Let's see, how is it written down? Is like anything happen, or is it just they get attacked? Like scum just pop out? Yeah, imagine the scum confront anyone who tries to cross the footbridge of the ship. This motherfucker's not gonna come up and talk to you. Look at this creature. Excuse me, sir. It's like, holy shit. There's no like friggin' scary moment that the players have been fighting like guards one moment, then manticores, which are pretty nuts, and then this tentacle horror creature. Like, you shouldn't be up here. Like, oh, you shouldn't exist. Like, what is going on? That is worthy of a shock. But I think there deserves to be a cool moment with the Deep Scions. There's supposed to be 3 here. And then that is important that they do alert the ones in the ship. So I guess the railing looks like it goes to the top of the ship, and then you're supposed to go drop down in there. There is a door here, but I don't think this door is actually functional. And you drop down here, and you basically fight a whole bunch of deep scions. Maybe they just like the steam pools or something. The part here that makes sense is because the aboleth creatures need the water to stay wet. Deep scions mechanically don't have that, but maybe they just like the water in general. I don't know. 11 seems real shitty, though. Like, no creature should have 11. Barely better than a zombie. Surely these guys are at least wearing leathers. They have a +1 to dex. Are they literally wearing, like, the worst leather armor? Like, damn. Can you not wear any of your stuff? I guess if you're trying to swim, but you could wear, like, studded leather or something. I'm shocked that their AC is so bad. Shocked, I say. So is it worth having them be different tokens? I think, unfortunately, a lot of these guys that can transform, it takes an action, which I fucking hate that. It should be... No, it's a bonus action! Da-da-da-da-da-da. Deep Scion transforms into a hybrid form or back into its true form as a bonus. Okay, perfect. Because I wanted to do that and not be its one action. Also, Battle Axes feels a little weird. I feel like they should have, like, swords or something. Although the battle axe can be used two-handed to do 1d10 damage. Jeez. I don't want to change their damage too much, but the axe seems a little much. Otherwise, bite and claws, which are way worse damage. They also do have their psychic screech, which I would make other deep scions immune to this. So, you know, DC 13 Wisdom Saver be stunned to the end of the Deep Scion's turn, which each one can use like once per battle. I'd probably limit that to like one of them does that like once per encounter, because it's a cool effect, but it doesn't actually do any damage either. So because of that, why don't we create... Let's see. Where's the classic guard token? Do we have that one here? Gird. That's not actually the one I was picturing, but it could work. Where's the one that looks like they're actually like armored guards? Did I make that one up? One where he's like yelling? Maybe I grabbed that one from something else. I like that token. Holy shit, so many things have the word guard in it. I'm only realizing there's so much guard. Vanguard also has the word guard. Well, where was that other guard picture? Shit. It's not the thug. Maybe I can get like the veteran. Actually, yeah, that thug works. That looks good. So if I want to do that, actually no, make a rollable token. I don't need that one. I need to make the table. This is actually kind of counterintuitive the way you do this. You have to add it as a rollable table. I call it Scion. Let's call it Scion, I guess. Players cannot roll from the table. We need to add an icon. But now it becomes tricky because you have to add it from the library, which I can't add you directly. Shit. I guess I can add it from the monster manual. It's such a pain in the butt. I don't know if there's an easy way to do this. Monster. MONSTERMICKEY monster. Monster Pack, Monster Nest, Monster Menagerie, Monster Mash. Monster Expanded Art Pack. Fuck, where's the monster manual? No, where are you? Is it not under monster manual? Oh, does that not give you an art gallery? What the fuck? All right. Well, the other way we do that is we take this token and we... Oh, shit, it's a web page. Of course it is. Fuck. We take this token, we drag it here. We do Z. We do open image. There we go. We save it. Fuck. That saves it as a PNG. Because I can't fucking find it. Otherwise, token. Call you thug. I already have a deep scion in there, it looks like. And then we add said token. Yeah, fun with Roll20. Hopefully this is useful for some folks. And then we drag it here, which gives us our token. And we call this dude. And then we add another item, which I did previously. Now I feel like a cooking show. I previously made this one. Because I did this with, I guess, somebody else. We've already got a deep scion, so we include it here. We call that one scion. And then we've made our rollable token. So we save the changes. Then we go into here and we click token. And this manifests our basic token into the world, which then has the multi-sides. So now we need to make sure this token is a deep scion, which it is, although it's done with the artwork. No, it is not. So we need to pick the second one, I think. Yeah, let's try the second one. Oops, is that one. Okay. And then the only thing we care about is your AC, which, yeah, has a stupid 11. And your average hit points are 67. And your bar is already fine. Okay. All of that work to create a multi-sided token. It's kind of dumb. And I'll have to do a separate one for the Dory Scion, I think. Although I'm tempted to use... Did we fucking use the Deep Scion Assassin with Ned? Or am I just using the same fucking boss? Did nobody catch this? Did I also do that with Ned? Or did I just make him a Deep Scion? So there's guards... So this could be interesting. We put guards out here. Are they all in the shed currently? Not make that shed big enough to hold people. Maybe we'll put like... How does it work? Where do they stash these stupid guards? 3 scum hidden inside the crane's shed. Stand guard over this area. All right, well, I guess I can make the square bigger. Bigger. Make it kind of fit maybe like 2 people in here. I don't know, Repus. I haven't decided if I want to use the scum in here or not. I think I really need to like look ahead on the refamiliarize myself with the final dungeon area, but I think the final dungeon involves Chul minions for the Aboleth. What I could do is change those Chul into scum, because I like Chul. We just fought a Chul as a mini boss fight in the Sawagan Stronghold, so that would be a good opportunity to use the scum there. But I also don't want to make things too dangerous for these final areas. So real quick, 4 scum guards posted here, which again is all because it's Aboleth creatures. It'd make more sense to use Deep Scions here. The cultist room is filled with nearly 100 of the Dark God's faithful, commoners, thugs, bandits, and cultists. Wow. Oh, unless you prefer otherwise, no cultists are present here when the characters arrive. That's interesting. There's an aboleth here, which is what we're changing into the Mind Flayer. So he's actually in room T6. But I'm going to change that because the room T6 is going to be water. Mind Flayer's not going to want to be in water. Unless he's got some kind of cool... Like, there is one of the Mind Flayers that uses like an exosuit. Maybe that's kind of cool. And then for the final area... So I guess you actually defeat that aboleth first, or he's supposed to run away. There's 2 more aboleths that show up trying to, like, arrest the other aboleth. And there's the juvenile kraken. All right, never mind. I made up the whole Chul thing. Maybe Rufus, you're the one that told me to use Chuls or something. I don't know where I came up with that. But clearly I'm not using any of these aboleths in this dungeon. I'm instead using a Mind Flayer, and then we can use whatever other thing. So maybe we can keep the scum guards if we want. Or we could make Mr. Dory the scum. Maybe he's just a different, kind of the others all turn into these different kind of, they all have the Deep Scion stat block, but maybe it's possible Mr. Dory is still a Kraken Society member, but his gifts from the Kraken, instead of manifesting as what looks like the Deep Scion, he turns into what looks like the scum, in which case maybe I keep his portrait the same because that looks like he could fucking turn into one of those tentacle nasty things. Which is pretty nuts. So you could still maybe use him as the one scum boss fight. Everybody else is still a Deep Scion stat block. And you could use these that I just created, but in here they would just be their usual Deep Scion selves, I would think. It could be their best selves inside their ship. These are still visible from the map, though. This area is so fucking small. I have to literally... I guess I just like hang out inside this tiny ass crane. I don't like this area. It's so tiny. It's so tiny. We'll put what are they even doing here? Like, this is not really a garbage. I don't know why I have such a problem here. They're actively guarding. I guess people can still access outside, like by climbing and things. Maybe they're worried about. But clearly this is visible too, so I'd have to make sure it's not visible from the ground. But if they jump up here, they'll just be guards who can see. Maybe there's like one. I'll put one in here who's like guarding this door. One just kind of out and about, and one who's just kind of inside the crane, maybe just like sleeping or something. Make sure he's covered by the dynamic lighting. And then the nice thing is they look like guards, like different kind of guards, but they would, as soon as a fight breaks out, they can bonus action turn into the Deep Scions, and then you're like, oh shit, yeah, we found where the bad guys are. Hey, Michael. So that part's at least satisfying, but yeah, I'll probably split them up a little bit. And that way, if they get to this top floor and they start snooping around, it'd be like, this guy would be like, get the fuck out of here, you're not supposed to be here. Or during the Manicore fight, this guy, they would be alerted, presumably, during the Manicore fight, or if this whole warehouse goes up in fire, which can also happen, then he would probably retreat, and yeah, the other guys would all be on high alert, which could change things. I don't know how they can climb out of this ship. Supposed to like drop in there. Talk about the actual ship part of it. It does say they can move and action normally with no risk of falling, which is pretty greatness. I don't know how good they would be at grappling and pushing people. I guess it depends on their athletics check, right? Holy shit. They have a +4 strength. All right. They're definitely going to be trying to shove people off then. That's hilarious. Oh my goodness. They're going to be shoving people off left and right. This initiative is going to matter so much here. Or somebody does like a surprise run. I got one, just like grabs one and yeets him right off the top. I love, and my players love, any battlefield that is not like just a flat basic room. Like if there's something else going on, there's a wall of spikes, there's a pit of lava, like whatever, if there's a chasm, like anything that anybody can work with. Where I always think as the DM, like, oh, I'm going to do all these crazy things, and it's always the players who end up doing like way more terrible things to me. but in a very fun way, which I appreciate. So I think they will enjoy this rickety setup, but they will not enjoy the fact that during combat they will have to make constant dex saves if they move. What if they move at all and do something? A character moves, performs any other action in addition to moving. You can also, it says a character moves no more than 10 feet per turn. Oh, and devotes all their attention watching where they place their feet is in no danger while moving through this area. So anybody who moves either more than 10 feet in a turn or moves and does another action. So I guess you could stand still. Then you got to make a dex save or fall prone. The whole thing is like rickety and swaying and very easy to fall off of versus the deep scions up here. Maybe they've got the webbed feet underneath, which I could still tease the webbed feet thing with their tracking down the new murder site. So that could be very, very nice. We get to the ship. We're looking hold of a ship from a crane. Creek grown ominously. The only apparent access of the vessel's interior is near the bow on the port side. Which is... You know what? The ship is also facing a different fucking direction than the picture. Isn't it? The ship is facing... I was going to say this direction. If you're listening, I don't know which direction it is. But like... the left side of the warehouse if I'm looking at the warehouse back. However, on the map, it is facing the right side of the warehouse, looking at the warehouse's back. So the picture's all kinds of wrong. Because, yeah, I think the access is through a door down here, because that would be the port side, which is the ship's left side facing the front of the ship. God damn it. So if this wasn't hard enough, you gotta do the whole picture the other way. Water grate in the hull, bunch of smoke, water flowing along wooden trough pours through the grate into the hull. Scum and looking area decent patrol the upper deck once every 30 minutes. Jeez, that's a lot. They mostly rely on the guards in area D5 to warn them intruders. So you could put one or two on the deck. The problem is the deep scions do not have any kind of ranged attack or ranged weapons, which makes them pretty shitty guards, in my opinion. Right? So shouldn't we give them, like, crossbows or something? Like, they wouldn't be able to be very good with them. Only a +1 dex versus their awesome strength. But, like, I feel like you gotta have a ranged weapon if you're gonna be a guard. The mana cores are great. They've got built-in tail spikes, but the poor... deep scions, not so much. Like if I just like put one or two on the ship, they're not going to do anything unless they close in melee. So we may have to give them crossbows, which I've done before. You can just grab crossbows for them. What would that be? Probably a light crossbow. I don't know if they would have proficiency to use a heavy crossbow necessarily. Probably be better than a hand crossbow. So let's say, because light is what, 1d6 or 1d8? Let's see, light crossbow is a 1d8. That's not too bad. And unfortunately, when you add things in an NPC sheet, it doesn't really do anything. Let's just hide that. So it'll be a 1d8 plus 1. The range is all not correct. Javelins. Maybe. I guess javelins, you could use their strength, couldn't you? What about throwing axes or knives? Because you can throw... You can throw weapons with strength, right? If the weapon is a melee weapon, use the same ability modifier for that attack roll and damage roll you would use for a melee attack with the weapon. Okay, so maybe throwing hand axes or daggers, I guess. Hand axes do more damage. let's see, hand axe. Yeah, 1d6. Only has a 20-foot range, but that may be better because they can use their strength with it. Excuse me, hand axe is not finesse, it's light. Okay. Yeah, I think I like that better than a crossbow, actually. That's a good point. So let's get rid of the crossbow. And let's add a hand axe. We want the thrown hand axe. Why did it add all this other shit in there? Don't need all that information. So it's a 1d6 plus 4. And it's a plus 6 to hit. It is ranged. 2060. We can get rid of all that crap. And then get rid of the hand axe itself, because I can keep them using the battle axe, I guess. Because they're only CR3, so I don't want to fuck the stat block up too much. They're good minions. Alright, that's better. They've got an endless supply of hand axes. 20-foot range. Outside 20 feet. Between 20 and 60, it's disadvantage. Which isn't great, but I think that's better than the crossbow. Alright, we just added that to their basic stat block. So we could put at least one more guard on the ship. Just hanging around the deck. Though, more than unless they get to the edge of the ship, which they could, it would probably be a disadvantage throwing axes. Yeah, I can use strength with... And javelins may be more painful, but I don't know, axes sounds more thematic here than javelins. Plus, all the Swagan use spears. I'm trying to get away from the spears for a hot second. So we could still put 2 more down here. Although they might be alerted and come up. This could be a big war right here on this area, which might be a better place to do a big fight. And then we get to, let's see, so 6 is here, the upper deck. And then, locked a trap, lifting it, creates a lot of noise. Once the grate is open, characters drop down to area D7. 2 sturdy broken, but suffering one takes a successful DC 30 strength check. Does it have rules for dropping the ship? Because that would be pretty amazing. And then there's more. Let's put more deep sounds in here, I guess. That'd be a shit ton, man. This will be quite the thing. I don't even know. I may reduce the numbers here, because it just gets to be a bit of a pain in the butt with all these dudes we're fighting. And then the last room... 2 more. God, so how many total are in here for level 11 players? They have to fight 3 scum on here in the crane area. There's another 3 in the first room, which could be alerted to the other ship area. And then there's 2 in this middle room, and then in Mr. Dory's chamber, there's him and the flesh golem, which is nuts. I may turn Mr. Dory into a scum. I just flavor it as... That way I can use his token and maybe do a rollable token where he turns into the scum as a bonus action, and he just turns into a different kind of Kraken Society monster, and I can make that just a thematic thing. Like, it's just a stronger version versus using the Deep Scion Assassin, because I think I use the Deep Scion Assassin for Ned. And we've already seen that, so I don't think we'll make it nearly this far, by the way. But I have to be prepared. They may make it to the crane first thing when they explore the warehouse, but it is a combat gauntlet. Yeah, which is fine. I think all the stuff we've, all the investigation, the things we did last session had no combat, and probably the first at least half of this coming session will also have no combat as we explore the murder investigation and then actually reach the warehouse. And then once we start combat, it's going to be a lot of fighting, grueling stuff. And then we just take a little bit of a break before we move on to the, not a break, but like it's, at least you finish this area, you get the information to go to the temple, and then it's basically more combat, I guess. All right, we are definitely well past our time for this crafting stream, so that is going to do it for this Thursday's session. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoy the content, as always, check out patreon.com/RogueWatson. Shouts to Platinum patrons Joe, Will, Thomas, Dan, Brennan, Zensider, Eclectic Roleplayer, Roll, Christopher, Corey, Big Nut, John F, John L, Eric, Tyler, Nathan, Cap, Crystal, Counselor, Andrew, Dell, the Reldron, Captain Woody, 79, Stephanie, Patrick, Jason, Ismail, Amit, Lumpy, Spud, Sharny, David, William, Warden, Cutest, Fox, and Harold. And gold patrons, RPG, Papercrafts, Pretty Boy, and Yuma, The Lizard Lounge, Sam, Jerome, Nathan, Fazga, Tortoise, Scott, Rufus, Karen, Jerry, Glenn, Marcus, and Mark. Thank you all very much for your support. I will see you for D&D tomorrow.